I'm Darren, and this is Electro Savvy. We talk about electricity, tools, and tech. And today, I have another awesome device. You're gonna find it in any custom home with any custom lighting, and that's the four-way switch. It looks no different than any other switch, but it has a special ability, and what it does is allow you to turn a light on and off from more than 3 locations, multiple locations. So let's change the view, get a little bit closer, and I'll tell you all about it. All right, let's get into it. All right, so this is the four-way switch. Just by looking at this switch, there's no big differences, but if you look close enough, you can tell, just like a 3-way switch, that a 4-way switch does not have any markers saying that it's on and off. Usually a single pole will say on and off, but just like the 3-way switch, they do not mark them from the manufacturer because a 3-way and a 4-way switch can be on and off from different positions. It just depends on what position the other switch down the line is in. But the other big difference is that it has 4 terminal spots instead of just 2 like a single pole, or just 3 like a 3-way switch would. And instead of it having one black common, they've labeled it output. I don't know if you can see that. Let me get up a little close. They've labeled it input and output. A set of travelers coming in and a set of travelers leaving out. But just like all of Leviton's switches, the build quality is perfect. Trying to figure out how long you need to strip your wire out, well, here's a little gauge. You just gauge your wire right there. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Let's stop wasting time. Let's go wire this thing. Let me show you how it's done. To do a 3-way switch, you have to have a 3 conductor and you have to have a 2 conductor. So for a 4-way switch, 2 3 conductors pulled to 1 box. So this is what this is. This is 2 runs of 14-3. So let's get this stripped. And believe it or not, I still like using the good old razor blade. I like the automatic wire strippers, but to me, it's hard to get used to. Doing this for 20 plus years with a razor knife, I'm not going to worry about too much because I know how to strip Romex with a knife. Now we have the wires exposed. What I like to do is just take the travelers and bend them over. And I'll bend the neutrals back like that and get everything out my way. Then I'll go ahead and start twisting this with my hand. Then I'll grab my tool. And what we're going to use today is a grounding wire nut. It's got a hole straight through it. You can use these pliers, bend it back without cutting yourself and doing crazy stuff, but We're going to go ahead and do these neutrals now. Take a regular tan wire nut. Push that on back there. Here's the travelers. What you want to do is just strip out enough to make your hooks. Or tell you what, actually, this four-way switch that I'm doing, it's a stab in the back design. Not like, you know, the push ends. You actually have to screw this down and tighten it. So let me go ahead and loosen this up. This is a much better design. Usually you can only use 14 in a stab in design, and I'll stay away from that as much as I can. All right, so here's a lesson right here. Put that right there. When I was stripping this back, I was stripping it to make hooks. Well, it's a little too long, so I need to clip some of this off. And if you're not sure about the length, you can always use that wire gauge that is actually on the switch. Alright, so it still has the regular loop design for the ground. Let's go ahead and make a hook. Like that. Make sure you got your loop going the right direction, so you want your ground, as you tighten it, not to be going the other direction, because you'll unfold the hook. Well, one set of travelers is going to go to the black screws, and the other set is going to go to the brass screws. This is what the box should look like once it's wired. You got your input travelers coming in and your output travelers coming in, and they are separated. The neutrals are bonded together, twisted with the wire nut and pushed into the box, and the grounds are bonded together, leaving one pigtail to ground the switch. Real quick, guys, if you're getting any value out of these videos, please subscribe to my channel. Let's stuff this in the box. Kind of fold this and shape it where it'll bend a lot easier. And if you got a good old screw gun handy, I would say use it. All right, what I like to do is push it in like that, because you can kind of shape this thing before you suck it down. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then go ahead and suck it on. Now all I have to do is put the three-way switches in. But this is how you install a four-way switch. You cannot install a four-way switch unless you have two three-way switches, because a four-way switch goes in between the two three-ways. So you can't just buy a four-way switch and run two three conductors and expect it to work, because it's not going to do that. It's got to be powered up on one side. One side has to have a switch leg, unless it's a power and feed, but you still have to have two three-ways in the line. And the four-way is going to be in between the two three-ways. But you're always going to have two three-way switches on either end. The four-way switches go in the middle of the lighting circuit. I've got a two conductor, which is a light tail going to this light. This is a 14.2 going to this light, so that's the light tail. And I have a unstripped 14.3. So let me go ahead and strip this out. Okay, so we're at the other box. I had an existing power and feed three-way, so the travelers are still connected to it. And I'm gonna just leave it, because what we have to do now is power this system up. This is power coming in, and this is the neutral to the three conductor. I've got all three switches in. For a finishing touch, if you want, I will put a switch cover up, but the light comes on, and I'll show you real quick what a four-way is all about. Isn't that cool? From any location. So if you ever wondered how homes were wired and could do that, it's because they have three-way switches and a four-way switch. Just to prove to you, you can turn every one of them on and off in any combination. That was a fun little project. Well, I hope you have a better understanding of three-way switches and four-way switches. All right, guys, the tools I used today was the Milwaukee 7-in-1 multi-tool. It's kind of like a needle nose and pliers and strippers all in one. I used their Milwaukee switchback electric knife. This one actually even has a Phillip tip and flathead extension. So this is cool. And I'm usually using a multi-tool from Klein. This is the 14-in-1 ratcheting screwdriver. Excellent tool. Since I got this thing, I just can't stop using it. But that was the tools I was using, other than a screw gun. My name's Darren. This is Electro Savvy. If you got any value today in this video, please smash that subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. It was fun. I'll see you in the next video.